Imagine you're facing a really critical legal decision. Maybe you're a defendant, trying to clear your name. Or perhaps you're a plaintiff seeking justice for something that's happened. Now, what if you had a choice? A truly profound one, really, that could shape your entire future. Would you put your fate in the hands of a traditional human jury? People susceptible to bias, fatigue, the often unpredictable nuances of human emotion. Or would you opt for an AI jury? A system designed to apply rules with, well, unwavering consistency, designed to cite every single source for its reasoning and meticulously document its decisions end to end, no inference left unexplained. Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take complex ideas and break them down into essential, digestible insights, really helping you navigate the cutting edge of change. Today, we're exploring a truly thought-provoking framework. It asks us to rethink the very foundation of justice in this age of artificial intelligence. We're delving into a blueprint for an AI-driven judicial system, meticulously crafted by Dr. Lev Nemotin. And here's what's truly fascinating, and maybe a little startling. Dr. Nemotin himself asserts that even today, he would likely prefer an AI jury if he were in a legal proceeding, whether as a defendant or a plaintiff. No, hold on. This isn't a blanket endorsement. It comes with some pretty significant qualifiers, which we're absolutely going to unpack for you as we go. Our mission today. To thoroughly explore this, radical proposal, we'll look at its ambitious objectives, dive deep into its foundational design principles, understand how it promises to align with the bedrock of constitutional law, and crucially, we'll conduct a sober reality check. What strengths and weaknesses does current AI technology actually bring to the table for such an ambitious undertaking? Get ready to challenge your assumptions about what justice could look like, and maybe what it should look like in the age of AI. Okay, let's get started. So the genesis of this whole conversation, really, it stems from a critical, pretty unflinching look at our current human-led judicial system. The paper highlights vulnerabilities that are, frankly, hard to ignore. Things like inherent bias, the sheer fatigue human jurors and judges face over long trials, and those persistent inconsistencies that can crop up from individual discretion, varying interpretations of the law. It's not about maligning human intentions here, not at all. It's more about acknowledging inherent human limitations. I mean, you only need to look at studies on how different judges might sentence the exact same crime, right? Or how jury selections can sometimes inadvertently favor certain demographics. It just shows the same facts can lead to wildly different outcomes depending on who is hearing the case.
That's exactly right. And the author, Dr. Nemotin, he isn't just pointing out these flaws for the sake of it. He's really setting the stage for a dramatic, almost paradigm-shifting proposal. His perspective implicitly argues that a core ideal of justice, its impartial and consistent application, is often undermined by the very human element we traditionally associate with it. Think about all those studies on implicit bias affecting jury decisions, or the well-documented variance in sentencing based on a judge's individual philosophy, or even, something as seemingly mundane as what time of day a case is heard. These human qualities, while definitely part of our system's heritage, they can also become its greatest liabilities when the goals are consistency, objectivity, and impartiality. He's basically making the case that our aspiration for blind justice is often, thwarted by the very human eyes through which it has to pass.
Okay, so if human limitations are the problem, the solution being proposed is this AI jury. How would this AI jury fundamentally address those deep-seated human vulnerabilities we just talked about? The document says it would apply the exact same rules to everyone, cite every source it relied on, meticulously document its reasoning end to end. It sounds like an aspiration we've always had for justice, right? A lofty ideal that's often kind of eluded us. But now, with advanced AI, Dr. Nemotin suggests we might actually have a technological path to achieve that ideal. It's not just theory. He presents it as a practical, almost actionable solution to these age-old problems.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's clear this isn't just automation for automation's sake. It's a really ambitious attempt to operationalize the ideal of impartial justice. That consistency in applying rules. The radical transparency of citing every single source used in its reasoning. And producing these auditable reasoning artifacts, these are all direct, potent countermeasures to the issues of bias and inconsistency that can plague purely human systems. It implies a level of accountability, of explainability, that our current sort of black box human deliberation often really lacks. For you, the litigant, this means you wouldn't just get a verdict. You get a detailed, verifiable breakdown of why that verdict was reached, what evidence was key, which legal principles were applied. And this is exactly where Dr. Nemotin's strong preference for an AI jury comes from. It's that promise of objective, verifiable, transparent justice, where you can literally see the evidence and the rules being applied step by step, rather than guessing what happened behind those closed jury room doors.
For him, that measurable consistency and, frankly, undeniable transparency seem to outweigh the perceived benefits of human judgment, especially within an adversarial legal system.
Right. So this isn't just about, plugging some AI into a courthouse and saying job done. The author proposes a system built on a bedrock of guiding principles. It's almost like setting the fundamental ethical and legal operating rules for the AI itself, ensuring it acts as a truly trustworthy, impartial, fair decision maker. You mentioned it's like designing a new constitution, but for an AI entity. So what are these core rules of the road? What has to be embedded from the absolute start before any code is even written?
That's such an important question. How do you build a system that uses AI's power but maintains the sanctity of the law? The framework lays out 7 critical design principles. Think of them as the ethical and legal compass for the whole AI judiciary. First, and absolutely paramount, is constitutional fidelity. This means rigorously preserving all existing rights. We're talking fundamental protections, notice of charges, the right to counsel, right to confront accusers, right to a jury trial, due process, equal protection, all of it. The paper's crystal clear here. Where AI replaces human actors in these core areas, you need one of 3 things: explicit, informed consent from the parties involved, or clear authorizing legislation passed by lawmakers, or, in the most far-reaching cases, actual constitutional amendments. So it's not a bypass. It's presented as a careful, deliberate integration that acknowledges the huge legal shifts needed. Second principle, rule of law by design. The system aims to embed legal standards like beyond a reasonable doubt or preponderance of evidence, not as these vague subjective concepts open to interpretation, but as controllable, auditable decision thresholds with calibrated confidence levels. Imagine a system where the burden of proof isn't just a feeling in your gut, but a measurable, verifiable probability. Maybe a 95% confidence threshold for beyond a reasonable doubt.
Wow. That's a fundamental shift.
It really is. It's not just about efficiency, it's about reshaping due process. You could potentially appeal a verdict not just on procedural errors, but on a statistically quantifiable misapplication of that threshold. That capability alone could redefine accountability and fairness in ways we, only dreamed of. Third, transparency and explainability. Absolutely central. Every single material inference the AI makes must be source-cited, time-stamped, and explainable through human-readable reasoning artifacts.
So no black boxes.
Exactly. This is a huge leap from current opaque jury deliberations, where we rarely get insight into why a decision was made beyond the verdict itself. Here, you get the full account, a digital paper trail. Unprecedented scrutiny. Fourth is fairness and bias controls. The framework mandates continuous pre-deployment and live bias audits, demographic parity monitoring, error analysis, and clear redress mechanisms. It's an active, ongoing effort, preventing and correcting bias, acknowledging that AI models can inadvertently learn and perpetuate biases from their training data. Constant vigilance, sophisticated tech needed. Fifth, security and privacy, non-negotiable. Cryptographic provenance, think of it like a digital birth certificate and tamper-proof history for data, along with chain of custody protocols to ensure evidence integrity. Least privilege access restricts who sees what. Differential privacy adds a layer of statistical blur to large data sets, letting the AI learn without exposing individual information.
Okay, critical for handling sensitive legal data.
Absolutely essential. Prevents tampering, leaks, unauthorized access. Sixth, accountability. Deeply baked in. Immutable logs, records that cannot be altered, document every single action. Multi-layered appeal and review processes involving both AI and human panels. Clear remedies for error. All defined. This ensures mistakes can be tracked, understood, and corrected. Aims to be even more comprehensive than current human review. And finally, seventh, human in the loop, by exception. Humans are not entirely removed, not at all. They intervene at pre-specified checkpoints and on specific triggers, things like severe sentences, long incarceration periods, novel legal questions outside established precedent, or complex constitutional issues. So it's a system of limited human oversight, not complete replacement from day one. Ensures critical, high-space decisions still have that human review layer. Taken together, these principles aim to build a system that's not just efficient, but profoundly just and trustworthy.
Building that trust, like you said, clearly starts with this bedrock of principles. It really does feel like designing a new constitution for an AI entity, doesn't it? Where its fundamental operating rules are explicitly defined to align with our human values of justice and fairness. Really underscores the ambition here. But okay, that leads us to wonder, who exactly are the players in this digital court? When we talk about an AI-driven judicial system, it's easy to just picture an AI judge or maybe an AI jury. But this framework proposes a whole cast of AI characters, each with a specialized role, like a highly optimized legal team all working together. Who are these key AI players? What would they actually do?
That's a great way to put it, an orchestra of digital legal minds. And what's really ingenious here is the modular approach. It's not one giant AI brain, but rather a collection of specialized AI agents, each performing functions that currently require multiple human professionals. Let's walk through some of these core AI roles the paper calls agentic services. First up, you've got the AI clerk of court. This agent handles all the, well, mundane but crucial admin tasks. Case intake, calendaring, managing service of process, the public access portal, records retention.
So the digital backbone, basically, freeing up human court staff.
Exactly. Frees up human resources from those administrative burdens. No more misplaced paperwork, hopefully, or accidental double bookings that can derail a case. Next, the AI legal researcher. Imagine AI retrieving statutes, regulations, precedents, and then immediately shepherdizing and key citing them, checking their judicial history instantly. It would also propose multi-jurisdictional analyses, all with explicit standards of review outlined.
Instant, comprehensive legal research. That would save lawyers a huge amount of time.
A massive speed up compared to the traditional labor-intensive process. Then there's the AI evidence lab. This is a critical forensic role. It validates chain of custody for all evidence, performs authenticity checks using metadata, cryptographic provenance. For instance, using tech like C2PA to cryptographically tag digital media, prove its origin, ensure it hasn't been altered. Flags deepfake risks. It could even run Daubert-Frye assessments for expert evidence. Those are the legal standards courts use to decide a scientific testimony is reliable enough for a jury.
Ensuring the integrity of the evidence itself. Very important.
Absolutely critical. The AI Discovery Manager enforces discovery rules that pre-trial information exchange. Filters for privileged info, applies protective orders, auto-redacts. Personally identifiable information produces audit trails. This promises to streamline one of the most tedious, costly, and often contentious parts of litigation. Ensures fair and efficient info exchange. It even alerts for Brady-Giglio obligations, the constitutional requirement to disclose evidence favorable to the defense. We also have the AI Interviewer Recorder. This agent conducts and records interviews, witnesses, plaintiffs, defendants under non-coercive protocols. Ensures Miranda warnings are given when needed. Generates verbatim transcripts and summaries with confidence tags. Maintains fairness and accuracy. Reduces human error or potential bias in interpretation. Before trial, the AI pretrial judge handles things like motions to dismiss, motions to suppress evidence, summary judgment motions, admissibility rulings, all with explainable orders, drafts, jury instructions. Can even set bail under statutory constraints with explainable risk analysis. Provides clear reasoned orders for all these preliminary decisions. Understands and applies procedural rules, like Rule 12 or Rule 26. During the trial itself, the AI trial conductor, effectively an AI presiding judge, manages the flow, rules on objections with instant backup from legal precedent, ensures parties' rights are upheld, even oversees the AI jury's interaction, keeps things fair and efficient. And then the centerpiece, the AI jury, panelized ensemble. This is the core decision maker. A diverse ensemble of independently trained models delivering findings of fact and a verdict. Uses consensus methods, confidence intervals mapped directly to legal standards. This is the heart of Dr. Neymoten's preference, aiming for objective, transparent fact-finding, free from subjective human variables. After a verdict, the AI sentencing advisor computes guideline ranges, synthesizes mitigating aggravating factors, explains disparity controls, proposes sentencing recommendations, maybe alternatives like rehabilitation or restitution, aims for consistent, fair sentencing. Finally, the AI appellate bench reviews records for legal error, applies standards of review, may send cases back down. And the AI court reporter and public access agent produces certified transcripts, redacted public summaries, enforces sealing rules, victim privacy, maintains transparency while protecting sensitive info.
Wow, so it's really not just one AI taking over. It's an entire ecosystem of these specialized AI agents working together, designed to handle pretty much every stage of the legal process, like a finely tuned orchestra of digital legal minds, all performing without coffee breaks or egos, I guess. But okay, we've painted this picture of the AI roles. The real magic, or maybe the real mystery, is underneath all that, isn't it? What are the actual technical gears turning? How does all this power actually work under the hood?
Precisely. Those roles describe the actors, but the technical layers explain the underlying plumbing. The infrastructure that lets these agents function securely and reliably. At the base, you've got the data and evidence layer. Think of it as a secure evidence vault. Uses cryptographic chain of custody, hash-linked Merkle logs for tamper-proofing, like a digital fingerprint for every piece of data linked in an unbreakable chain, so nothing can be secretly altered. Also includes role-based access control, who gets to see what, and manages data retention policies. Ensures integrity and privacy. Above that is the model layer. This is where the AI brains live. It uses various types of AI. Research LLMs, large language models for text-based legal analysis, understanding statutes, case law. Multimodal LLMs, crucial for processing audio, video, images, forensic analysis, integrating all forms of evidence.
Right, so it understands everything, not just text.
Exactly. And then there are causal structural reasoners. This is fascinating stuff. Unlike models that just find statistical correlations, these are built to establish direct cause and effect. They construct proof trees. Imagine a legal argument where the AI doesn't just say this outcome is 90% likely, but literally maps out step by step how specific evidence plus specific laws leads to a conclusion. Just like a human lawyer builds a logical case. Then a crucial calibration layer aligns the AI's probability estimates directly with legal thresholds. Beyond a reasonable doubt, preponderance of evidence. Make sure its confidence levels are legally meaningful. The orchestration layer is like the central nervous system, manages the whole workflow. It's a workflow engine with policy checks, a reasoning artifacts generator to automatically explain AI decisions, a conflict of interest detector to prevent bias, and those crucial human-in-the-loop triggers that flag when human review is explicitly required. The governance and audit layer ensures continuous oversight and accountability, immutable audit logs for every action, bias and fairness dashboards for real-time monitoring and demographic parity, red team portals for stress testing against attacks, robust mechanisms for incident response, model versioning with rollback capabilities, and finally, the interfaces, the access points for users, dedicated portals for advocates, defense, prosecution, civil counsel, portals for the parties themselves, defendants, plaintiffs, a public portal for opinions, schedules, and a judicial console for human judges to exercise controls that overrides when their intervention is triggered. This layered architecture ensures the system is powerful, but also secure, transparent, and auditable at every single step.
Okay, that all sounds incredibly efficient, technologically sophisticated. But the U.S. legal system is built on centuries of constitutional principles. That's a bedrock, right?
Yeah.
Not exactly flexible. So how does a system with AI judges, AI juries, how does that square with fundamental rights, like the right to a jury trial or due process? Does it fundamentally clash, or can it genuinely conform? It's a huge question. These are non-negotiable aspects of our justice system.
It is indeed the crucial constitutional tightrope walk, and the framework addresses this directly. It meticulously outlines how an AI judiciary could operate within our existing legal framework, or where adjustments might be needed. It certainly doesn't propose just ignoring these rights. For the right to jury trial, that's the Sixth Amendment for criminal cases, Seventh for civil, the paper offers 3 clear pathways for AI juries to be legally legitimate. 1. Explicit informed consent from all parties involved. This offers you, the litigant, the choice. 2. Authorizing legislation passed by Congress or state legislatures. Or 3. The most far-reaching scenario, constitutional amendments.
Which is a huge undertaking.
Monumental. This highlights the sheer magnitude of the legal shift required. It shows the author is advocating for navigating these rights carefully, not just sidestepping them. Practically, widespread legislation or an amendment is a massive hurdle, suggesting initial deployments would really rely heavily on that consent pathway. Regarding due process and confrontation, the system is designed to guarantee rights like cross-examination, the presence of counsel. The AI wouldn't just make a decision in a vacuum, it would ensure procedural fairness. Allow challenges to evidence, testimony, mirror current human processes, but with AI support for rigor and consistency. For the assistance of counsel, AI might support or even replace counsel, but only with explicit informed consent. Safeguards your right to legal representation. Ensures individuals still have access to advocacy, human or AI assisted by choice. Respects that fundamental protection. Equal protection is addressed through that mandate for continuous bias audits and remedies, ensuring the system treats all individuals fairly, regardless of protected characteristics. It's a proactive measure against algorithmic bias, aiming for demonstrable equity. In terms of evidence and procedure, existing evidentiary rules would definitely need updates. To account for AI certifications, the unique nature of AI-processed evidence, like how an AI evidence lab authenticates data using cryptographic provenance that would need legal recognition, and crucially, appeals. Deeply integrated. Appeal rights to human-led courts are ensured for constitutional questions or high-stakes cases, provides that critical human-in-the-loop mechanism at the highest levels. No AI decision is entirely final without potential human review in sensitive areas.
Okay, so that covers the letter of the law. But what about the spirit of justice? You know, the human element, dignity, fundamental fairness. These are aspects many feel are just intrinsic to justice. How does this system, with AI potentially at the helm, preserve those qualities we value so highly?
That leads us right into what the framework calls humanity's safeguards. These are explicitly designed to reassure us that even in an AI court, Fundamental rights and human dignity remain paramount, absolutely critical for public acceptance, for maintaining the moral compass. First, notice and access. The system would provide plain language notices, multilingual support, assistive technologies, ensure everyone understands and can engage regardless of background or capabilities, making justice truly accessible, bridging digital and language divides. For counsel and self-representation, AI co-pilots could genuinely assist both human attorneys and pro se parties, those representing themselves. But crucially, the framework includes guardrails to prevent AI from discouraging human counsel when human advocacy is genuinely needed. It's about empowering choice, augmenting capabilities, not automatic replacement. In confrontation and cross-examination, AI could offer real-time contradiction detection, maybe impeachment suggestions to human counsel during cross-examination.
Like a super-powered paralegal whispering in their ear.
Kind of, yeah. Augmenting the human attorney's abilities. But importantly, no covert AI questioning without explicit consent. Preserves the adversarial nature, the right to face one's accuser. Open courts are maintained through redacted public records, justified orders for sealing proceedings, plus publication of public model cards, bias reports, error rates, transparency not just in cases, but in the AI's overall operations. And then we come to a really complex, profound point: jury nullification and mercy. This is identified as a major policy choice, a real philosophical crossroads for AI justice. If we eliminate human discretion entirely, do we lose that vital safety valve, the capacity for mercy that sometimes transcends strict legal rules, where a human jury might acquit despite the evidence because they feel the law is unjust or the punishment too harsh?
That's a heavy question. How does the framework handle that?
It bravely offers two paths. Either the AI jury applies structured mercy factors within sentencing guidelines, effectively trying to codify compassion within predefined parameters. Or human clemency channels executive clemency. Human review boards are explicitly preserved as a separate path. The insight is, even in an AI system, we must consciously decide where immutable logic ends and where human compassion, however imperfect, begins. It acknowledges how hard it is to encode something like mercy into a purely rules-based system. But it offers solutions to ensure this crucial human element isn't just lost. It's about making sure that even with AI, the system remains humane, capable of addressing the full spectrum of human experience.
That discussion about mercy is particularly insightful. It really highlights the tension between algorithmic rigor and, well, human values. Okay, let's dive into the core component that really prompted Dr. Nemoten's strong preference, the AI jury. How would this actually work? It's not just one AI saying guilty or not guilty, right? That sounds like a single point of failure, a recipe for distrust, undermines everything we just discussed about fairness.
You've hit on exactly the concern the framework anticipates and addresses. And what's truly fascinating is how the author tackles those worries, single point of failure, individual AI bias, by proposing this ensemble approach for the AI jury. It's a highly sophisticated design, mirrors, and maybe in some ways improves upon, the diversity we seek in human juries. First, let's look at its composition. An AI jury would be an odd number ensemble, say 9 to 21 independent models. Crucially, these models will be trained on disjoint datasets and use diverse architectures. This significantly reduces the risk of correlated errors.
So not all making the same mistake because they learn from the same biased data.
Exactly. Think of it like having multiple independent human jurors, each with a different background, different life experience, but all focused on the same evidence and legal standards. Diversity constraints, similar to those used in human jury selection, would even be applied to the models themselves to ensure a broader perspective, guard against systemic blind spots. Then there's deliberation. The process involves independent first-pass verdicts from each model, followed by a deliberative exchange constrained by strict rules. For instance, no introducing extra record information, only a structured discussion of the evidence and legal principles. This mirrors human jury processes, but it's completely transparent, auditable. Leads to a final collective vote. Perhaps the most rigorous part is calibration and output. This is where the scientific rigor really shines. The system uses continuous reliability diagrams, thresholds tied directly to legal standards. For beyond a reasonable doubt, for instance, the AI jury verdict might require a calibrated posterior probability, exceeding a policy set threshold maybe 95%, 99%, or even higher. If the evidence is deemed insufficient, or if model disagreement exceeds predefined limits, it could automatically trigger a mistrial, prevents an unconfident or biased verdict. And the output, not just a simple verdict, but a structured findings of fact with full source citations for every piece of evidence relied on, confidence intervals, even minority opinions when models are split.
Wow. That level of detail is unprecedented.
It offers incredible insight into the decision-making process, directly addresses that black box problem of human juries, and this strongly underpins Dr. Nemoten's preference for this verifiable system. Finally, robust safeguards are built in, randomized panel assignment to prevent gaming. Seedable audits for reproducibility, meaning you can recreate the exact decision process anytime. Sophisticated defenses against model collusion or data poisoning, critical in a high-stakes legal context. This multi-layered design aims for unparalleled fairness and reliability.
So it's a really sophisticated, multi-layered approach, creating a truly impartial fact finder designed to be more consistent, more transparent, arguably more objective than any human jury. This definitely makes Dr. Nemoten's preference much clearer. It aims to eliminate so many of those subjective variables that plague traditional trials, replace them with verifiable, auditable processes, bringing potentially a new level of confidence to the justice system. Okay, theory is one thing, but how would this actually play out in a real legal case, start to finish? Let's maybe walk through how AI would integrate into both criminal and civil workflows, see how these specialized agents interact, and where those human checkpoints remain crucial.
Yeah, this really brings the framework to life, shows how the different AI agents interact, and where human oversight remained absolutely essential. It's a comprehensive vision. Let's start with the criminal case workflow. Intake and charging. Begins with the AI evidence lag validating submissions, AI legal researcher aligning conduct to statutes, and AI pre-trial judge reviews for probable cause. But for felonies, there's a critical human checkpoint. Charge approval by a human oversight prosecutorial panel, HOPP, or a grand jury alternative. Could be human, could be AI-assisted, depends on law and consent.
Okay, so humans still make the big call on serious charges.
It's exactly discovery. AI Discovery Manager takes over, runs open file discovery, auto-applies privilege filters, timestamps documents, alerts for Brady-Giglio obligations, can even recommend sanctions for violations, streamlines that whole burdensome process. Pre-trial. Motion suppress evidence, dismiss, change venue resolved by the AI pretrial judge with explainable orders. Parties can still request human review for constitutional rulings. Maintains that avenue for human oversight. Trial. Here's where the choice comes in. AI jury, the ensemble panel, or a traditional human jury, if elected. AI presiding judge manages flow, rules on objections with instant precedent support, curates jury instructions. AI interviewer might even support real-time cross-examination aids for counsel, like flagging inconsistencies. The AI jury's verdict needs that calibrated probability exceeding beyond a reasonable doubt, say 95, 99+%, plus a justification report, sensitivity analysis, unprecedented clarity, sentencing. AI sentencing advisor computes guidelines, evaluates factors, generates bias-check recommendations, alternatives. But a human checkpoint is mandatory for sentences above defined thresholds, like incarceration over X years. Preserves human review for severe outcomes. Appeal. AI appellate bench reviews the record for legal error, but automatic human appellate review is mandated for death-eligible or life sentences. Highest scrutiny for the most severe cases. Now, let's quickly look at a civil case workflow. Pleadings and case management. AI clerk screens pleadings for legal sufficiency, suggests Rule 12 motions, like motion to dismiss, schedules events, proposes proportional discovery plans under Rule 26, discovery. AI e-discovery tools handle deduplication, privilege logs, technology-assisted review, TAR, where AI helps sift through millions of electronic documents, learning from human input to find relevant stuff quickly. Manages protective orders, sanctions, makes discovery much more efficient. ADR, alternative dispute resolution. AI mediator arbitrator options available. Transparent settlement analyses, bet and awatna, fairness checks. Parties could even elect AI arbitration by contract. Faster, maybe cheaper, transparent resolution path. Trial.ai bench, judge, or AI jury can be used, often on consent or authorization. Burden of proof and coded preponderance, clear and convincing. Judgment and remedies, structured damages modeling, frameworks for injunctions, even compliance monitoring bots to ensure judgments are followed. Comprehensive, efficient resolution.
It's such a comprehensive vision, isn't it? AI supporting or leading at almost every step, but with that critical human oversight carefully placed at the most impactful decision points. It really is a hybrid system, designed to leverage the best of both worlds, AI's consistency and speed, with human judgment where it matters most. Okay, this framework paints a really powerful picture of an AI-driven future for justice, but let's bring it back down to earth for a moment. The present day, how ready is today's AI for such a demanding role? Are we dreaming too big here, expecting too much from current tech? Or are there real actionable steps we can take now to start building this? What's the reality check?
This is such a crucial part of the paper, that addendum evaluating today's AI. It offers a balanced, pragmatic perspective, its capabilities and its limitations. It's not just optimistic, it's a sober assessment. Let's start with the pros of deploying AI now. in limited roles. Consistency and scalability. AI offers that uniform, unwavering application of rules, reduces variance from human fatigue, mood, differing interpretations, handles massive case loads without burnout, ensures every case gets the same objective scrutiny. Speed and cost. Imagine instant legal research, faster discovery, optimized scheduling, drastically reduced backlogs, tangible, immediate benefits, makes justice faster, potentially more affordable. Transparency. Potential. Machine-generated reasoning artifacts, full citation graphs. AI could offer transparency far beyond current systems if mandated by policy. Potentially trace every step of the logic. Unprecedented clarity. Comprehensive analysis. AI ingests and cross-checks vast amounts of multimodal data docs, audio, video simultaneously, tirelessly. Finds patterns, connections humans might miss, especially in complex cases. Bias monitoring. AI offers systematic, data-driven bias detection, measurable mitigation, can be far superior to human ad hoc awareness of implicit biases, allows continuous objective fairness checks. However, there are significant cons and risks of deploying now. Hallucinations and grounding. Current models can still, make things up, fabricate facts or citations if they lack hardened retrieval and verification layers. Critical risk for legal accuracy. Precision is paramount. Cannot have an AI jury just inventing evidence.
That's a major red flag.
Huge. Adversarial vulnerability. Risk of prompt injection, tricking the AI, data poisoning, corrupting training data, crafted adversarial media, deepfakes designed to deceive, could severely undermine integrity and trust. Bias and distribution shift. Residual biases, even after mitigation, can persist. Performance can drift over time or across jurisdictions if not constantly monitored. What works fairly in one state might not in another. Needs constant vigilance, retraining. Explainability gaps. While AI generates reasoning artifacts, deep reasoning in some AI is still probabilistic. Explanations can be post hoc, incomplete, not always satisfying legal needs for clear, human understandable reasoning that holds up in court. Legitimacy and consent. Public skepticism, constitutional challenges, very real concerns. That perception of inhuman justice needs active addressing through education, transparency, choice, over-reliance risks, danger of pressure to just defer to AI, potential loss of critical human legal craft, struggle for AI to encode nuanced concepts like mercy, context adequately, which, as we discussed, are vital.
Okay. So when we balance those pros and cons, what does this all mean for immediate adoption? Is it a go, a no-go, or somewhere in between? Are we talking science fiction here or something tangible we could see in the next few years?
The summary assessment from the document is pretty clear. It lands squarely in that nuanced somewhere in between. Ready now for support functions. Things like clerk roles, legal research, e-discovery, scheduling, drafting orders for human review, robust evidence provenance checks, general decision support. Critical, non-adjudicative roles where AI offers immediate substantial benefits without making the final legal judgment. Pilot ready, with consent and strict oversight. This is where limited adjudication becomes viable. Small claims, traffic violations, some civil bench trials with an AI judge, narrowly scoped misdemeanors. Viable for pilot programs, crucially, always with explicit consent from all parties, and significant human checkpoints, especially on sentencing. No AI operating autonomously in high-stakes areas yet. Not yet ready for universal replacement. Includes felony trials, complex civil litigation with novel legal questions, severe sentencing without robust human checkpoints. Stakes are simply too high. Current AI capabilities, despite advances, still have critical gaps needing to be addressed before full widespread replacement there.
That makes perfect sense, a cautious staged approach. So if we want to reach that future where AI plays a more central, even adjudicative role beyond just pilots, what improvements are absolutely essential for the AI itself? What needs to evolve in the tech to genuinely meet the profound demands of justice?
The document outlines 7 key areas for development. Basically a wish list for AI researchers to make this vision real, bridge that gap to full replacement. 1. Verified reasoning artifacts. AI needs to natively produce proof trees, executable legal rule checks, fully transparent, auditable. Crucially, these artifacts must be retrieval-anchored, inherently fail-closed if source material is missing. Critical defense against hallucination. 2. Calibration guarantees. Legally meaningful probability calibration, tied to specific standards of proof. AI's confidence levels rigorously verified, jurisdiction-specific tuning independently certified. So 95% confidence means the same thing consistently. 3. Robust multimodal forensics. Includes best-in-class deepfake detection, cryptographic capture pipelines ensuring evidence authenticity from the source, standardized evidence reliability scores. 4. Security hardening. Advanced prompt injection defenses, model isolation, sign tools, robust supply chain security, continuous red teaming to proactively find and fix vulnerabilities. Legal AI needs to be fortress-like. 5. Bias and fairness guarantees. Beyond current monitoring statutory parity targets, aiming for equitable outcomes across demographics, independent third-party fairness certifications, continuous monitoring with automatic verifiable mitigation strategies. Goes beyond just detecting bias. 6. Governance maturity. Clear authority for an AI courts commission as an independent regulator. Robust incident reporting, sanctions for misconduct, clear liability frameworks for AI vendors, development of insurance markets to manage risks. 7. Public legitimacy. Built through demonstrated accuracy, fairness, transparency, and successful pilots, comprehensive public education, and crucially, opt-in pathways, always ensuring a meaningful right to a human in serious cases. These are the foundational blocks needed.
Okay, so this isn't just theory. The document provides an actual phased roadmap for implementation. How does this ambitious vision go from concept to reality? And, maybe even more importantly, how do we ensure the public trusts such a profound change to their justice system? Because without public trust, any system, no matter how efficient or logically sound, is ultimately going to fail.
It's exactly right. And that phased implementation roadmap is intentionally gradual, recognizes the immense need for careful development, continuous learning, and most importantly, public buy-in. It's a methodical approach designed to build confidence incrementally, taking us towards the future Dr. Nemotin envisions. The roadmap is structured in phases. Phase 0, foundations, months 0 to 6, is all about groundwork. Legality mapping, constitutional statutory implications, extensive stakeholder consultations, legal pros, public, establishing that AI Courts Commission, AICC, as an independent regulator, drafting initial statutes, regulations, procurement standards for AI models. Phase 1, non-adjudicative pilots, month 6-18, focuses on deploying AI in those lower-stakes support roles. AI clerk, AI legal researcher, AI discovery manager piloted in selected jurisdictions. Rigorous independent audits, public dashboard showing performance transparently, build initial trust. Phase 2, limited adjudication with consent, months 12-30, marks the cautious entry into actual adjudication. Small claims, traffic cases, then civil bench trials, AI judge, eventually narrowly scoped misdemeanors, AI jury, explicitly on consent from parties. Critical human checkpoints on sentencing remain. Phase 3, expansion and interoperability, months 24-48, broadens the scope. More civil and criminal dockets, AI appellate panels aiming for interstate compacts, federal participation, expanding reach and complexity. Phase 4, full integration, 48+ months, envisions default AI adjudication for specified case classes, humans available by election, constitutional or statutory updates made as needed to fully embed the AI judiciary. Alongside this roadmap, a comprehensive training and change management plan is absolutely essential. Extensive education for judges, lawyers, certified AI judiciary practitioner programs, public explainer series to demystify the system for everyone, make sure everyone understands how it works.
Public trust, then. It's not just a nice-to-have, it's the absolute currency of the judicial system. How does this framework proactively build that trust? Especially when AI is involved, which, let's face it, can often be met with skepticism, even fear.
You're right, public trust is paramount. And this section on public engagement and legitimacy is critical. Addresses it directly. Recognizes transparency alone isn't enough. It calls for open audits and town halls, regular public engagement, civil society review boards, input from victim advocacy groups. Essential. It's framed not as a top-down implementation, but a collaborative evolution, making the public a partner. Crucially, plain language explanations attached to every ruling and verdict. Ensures reasoning behind AI decisions is transparent, understandable to everyone, not just legal experts. Fosters understanding, reduces that black box fear. The right to choose is a cornerstone for building trust during the rollout. Parties would always have the option. Human jury judge or AI modes where law permits. This gives agency to individuals.
So people don't feel it's being forced on them.
Exactly. People are more likely to accept a system if they feel they have control over participating. Allows gradual opt-in adoption. Let successful pilots demonstrate fairness and efficiency, rather than imposing it. It's a bridge-building mechanism. Shows the system respects individual autonomy, even as it seeks broad improvements. Finally, the framework digs deep into ethical considerations, explicitly warns against the automation of cruelty, stresses preserving human dignity, especially for defendants and victims. This isn't just about bias audits. It's about embedding statutory parity targets, designing the system to achieve equitable outcomes across demographics, not just avoid overt discrimination. Bakes in independent third-party certifications, transparent public reporting, layers of oversight designed to prevent the system from becoming cold or unjust, emphasizes embedding mercy, rehabilitation pathways into the AI system, ensuring every AI act is contestable. This isn't just about efficiency. It's about maintaining a humane, just system that upholds fundamental values, even as it leverages advanced tech. It's about making sure AI serves justice, not the other way around.
We've really journeyed today, haven't we? From that provocative question, human versus AI jury, to this incredibly detailed blueprint for an AI-driven judicial system. We've explored how Dr. Lev Nemotin's framework aims to build a system grounded in constitutional fidelity, radical transparency, undeniable accountability, directly addressing many of those human frailties that can undermine consistency in our current courts. We've also done that sober reality check, examined current AI capabilities, significant limitations, acknowledging that while support roles seem ready now, full replacement of human decision makers in serious cases, well, that required significant tech advancements and a careful, consensual, highly regulated rollout. And remember, the author himself, Dr. Nemotin, would lean towards an AI jury, precisely because of its promise for consistency, that explicit, verifiable reasoning, the built-in bias controls. Provided, of course, and this is key, that the robust safeguards, continuous development, and phased implementation outlined in his framework are rigorously in place. He sees the potential for a fairer, more predictable outcome for both plaintiffs and defendants. An outcome where you can actually trace every single decision. Our deep dive today, we really hope, has given you a comprehensive yet accessible understanding of a topic that will undoubtedly shape the future of our legal landscape, offering you not just facts, but context, implications, a perspective that goes beyond the headlines. The pivotal policy choice, as this blueprint so powerfully argues, maybe isn't whether AI can perfectly mimic a human juror or judge. Instead, it asks, can we codify fairness, rights, and accountability so precisely that justice becomes more consistent, faster, cheaper, and no less humane? And if we can achieve that, what does it mean for the very definition of justice itself, and for our societal trust in its execution? Something to ponder until our next deep dive.